At the very beginning of the episode, Mediha clearly defines Mukerram's status in the house. She is only here for the sake of the child, and has no rights to Nusret. Judging by this harsh tone, in the next episode, Mediha will personally suppress any of her attempts to get closer to her ex-husband. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next breakdowns. Nalan is furious over Mukerram's return, and directly accuses her mother-in-law of taking the law into her own hands. After such an outright tantrum, it is logical to expect that Nalan will not accept defeat, and will start looking for her own dirty ways to survive her rival, acting behind Mediha's back. Mediha justifies herself by saying that Halit outplayed them, and had no intention of giving up his son peacefully anyway. This detail directly hints that the conflict over the child is far from over, and in the sequel, Halit will likely launch his counterattack against their custody. The scene where Nalan demands an account from Mukerram in her own home shows her desperate attempt to maintain control over the situation. Most likely, Nalan will move from verbal threats to petty domestic harassment to break her psychologically. Mediha promises that the brothers will pay for everything, and asserts that Mukerram will stay in the mansion. It seems that in the next episode, Mediha will start using Mukerram as bait or a shield in the war against the Pashazad family. She also promises to help with the divorce, but on the condition that Mukerram becomes just a shadow in the house. After such an ultimatum, one can expect that Mukerram will try to break this rule as soon as she feels Mediha's weakness. Nalan snaps and physically attacks Mukerram with screams right in the hallway. This aggressive breakdown is a clear signal. In the next episode, her nerves might finally give out, and she will make a mistake that will turn Nusret against her forever. Nusret kicks out a relative, harshly demanding they never interfere in his family's affairs again. Judging by this authoritative gesture, he intends to single-handedly manage the current crisis, which will inevitably lead to a new conflict for influence within the clan itself. Accusations of trying to curry favor with Nusret at any cost show a deep rift among his inner circle. It is most logical to expect that in the sequel, one of the offended relatives will start playing a double game, or secretly leaking information to enemies. The mention of how Mukerram betrayed everyone is hanging in the air for a reason. This detail hints that her past betrayal will resurface and become the ultimate argument to kick her out of the house for good. Nalan tells Mediha directly and with tears that Mukerram's presence is opening a crack in her marriage. After such an admission of weakness, the most likely move is Nalan's attempt to form a secret alliance with one of Mediha's enemies. Mediha philosophizes that a mother will give up everything for her child. This thought is a clear setup for the fact that in the next episode, an even more terrifying sacrifice will be demanded from Mukerram herself for Aziz's safety. Nusret dryly tells Mukerram that he doesn't want to see her, but will protect his son. Based on this reaction, it seems he will become increasingly attached to the child while completely ignoring Mukerram, driving her to despair. He also promises Nalan to punish Seniha for her incompetence. Due to this threat, we can expect Nusret's direct attack on Seniha's positions in the next episode to finally knock her out of the game. Nalan warns her husband that Seniha cannot be trusted, as her behavior changes every day. This short exchange of lines hints that Seniha will soon indeed make a completely unpredictable move that will catch Nusret off guard. In a flashback scene, Mukerram admits that Halit would not leave her or her son alone. It's logical to expect that fear of Halit will force her to take extreme measures, perhaps even fleeing with the child. In the conversation, an open fear is expressed that the brother will not calm down and the situation will escalate again. Judging by this important detail, the temporary lull will end very quickly, and it is the brother's actions that will provoke a new round of open family confrontation. The scene where Nalan burns Mukerram with hot water shows her cruelty and need to dominate. Most likely, this tyranny will only intensify until someone in the household catches her red-handed. Nalan remembers a lesson from her childhood. Either you burn others, or they burn you. After such a revelation, it's clear she has chosen the path of fire, and will strike first in the next episode without waiting for an attack. She throws an accusation in Mediha's face that she is just a broken girl. This tense bathroom conversation hints that Nalan is no longer afraid of her mother-in-law and will try to seize control of the house from her. Nalan directly and pitilessly accuses her mother of venting her childhood traumas on her whole life. Based on this reaction, it seems their relationship has passed the point of no return, and we will see an open war ahead. Mediha coldly admits that she never loved her crying daughter. After such a terrible admission, the most likely move is Nalan starting to take revenge on her mother, using her weaknesses or secrets against her. Towards the end of the argument, Mediha states that they have both turned to stone. This detail sounds like a sentence. In the sequel, neither will yield, and their clash will affect all other family members. Mediha performs an ancient ritual with lead to ward off the evil eye from her family. This archaic gesture emphasizes her growing fear of an invisible threat that will likely hit them at the very beginning of the next episode. The father announces that they have finally broken ties with the Pashazades. But after such categorical statements, it's logical to expect that old ties with the Pashazades will soon surface and hit them at the most inopportune moment. He also cautiously warns that the Pashazades are simply lying low, waiting for the right moment. This is a direct indication that in the next episode, the enemies will strike from an ambush, using the dirtiest methods or old, long-forgotten compromat. Nalan does not want to see Mukarram at the common table and tries to send her to the kitchen. Judging by this scene, domestic humiliation will become her main weapon until Nusret intervenes more harshly. Nusret dryly gives an order. Mukarram can eat wherever she wants. This step completely overrides Nalan's domestic authority, and we can expect her to cause a public scandal or start quietly sabotaging this decision. Mediha plans to give money to Shazia. This unexpected gesture of goodwill is surely part of a cunning plan. Most likely, Mediha wants to buy her silence or use her for dirty work. A secret call instructing to let Shazia get into card debts reveals her true motives. Now the logic of the storyline leads to Mediha blackmailing Shazia with these debts in the next episode. Halit appears at Nur's house and confidently states that they never give back what they took. After such a threat, the conflict moves into an open phase, and Halit will likely try to take Mukarram back by force. He demands a divorce, but emphasizes that he will decide when it happens. Based on this reaction, it seems Halit will stall the process as much as possible to torment Mukarram and Nur with uncertainty. Mukarram throws in his face that she is tired of his last name. This short argument hints that her patience has run out, and in the sequel, she may go for a public scandal to speed up the divorce. Leaving, Halit advises them to prepare for the consequences. Because of this, a brutal blow to Nur's reputation, organized specifically through Halit's connections, is likely in the next episode. Nusret justifies himself to Nalan, claiming he was simply protecting the status of his son's mother. But after this conversation, we can expect Nalan not to believe him and start monitoring his every step. Nur ominously promises to keep her word, and it will turn into a catastrophe for the Pashazades. The most logical next step here is Nur launching a chain of events that will simultaneously hit the finances and reputation of the entire family. Chan is removed from his post as prosecutor because of the Jamal Pashazad case. This scene looks like the beginning of the end of his career. Most likely, Chan will try to find evidence of his innocence by starting to dig into the Pashazads themselves. Parallel to this, financial police unexpectedly burst into Seniha's office with a search warrant. After such a harsh raid, we can expect Seniha to lose not only her law license, but also the trust of her most influential clients. Halit realizes that Nur personally came to challenge him. This detail hints that in the next episode, Halit will focus all his resources specifically on destroying Nur, forgetting about Nusret for a while. Police also come to Halit's house. Judging by this scene, Nur's plan worked perfectly, and now both brothers will find themselves under investigation, forcing them to temporarily join forces for protection. Halit warns Seniha that Nur hasn't been wasting time. It is most logical to expect that after this warning, they will try to destroy evidence or hide assets before the police find the main thing. In a state of total shock, Seniha grabs a gun and runs out of the house. This nervous breakdown almost guarantees that in the sequel, she will do something irretrievably foolish that will only worsen her already shaky position before the law. She bursts into Nur's place with a weapon in hand. After such a pressure scene, the most likely outcome is Nur using this incident to accuse Seniha of attempted murder. Seniha screams that Nur has trampled her life and profession. This outright tantrum shows that Seniha is backed into a corner, and next she might try to blackmail Nur with old family secrets. She hits where it hurts, accusing Nur of ruining her own son's life. This reproach hints that in the next episode, details of Nur's relationship with her son, which she tried to hide, will surface. The question to Sidar about whether he is still hiding the truth from Nusret hangs in the air. Based on this pause, it seems Sidar will become the weak link, and his silence will soon be broken. Seniha declares war and promises to destroy their fake family. Most likely, her first step in the new episode will be a public exposure of Nur before her own inner circle. Suddenly, Halit appears and resolutely takes Seniha's side in the face of the enemy. This unexpected gesture of protection means the old feud between the brother and sister is temporarily forgotten for the sake of repelling a new, more dangerous threat. Halit directly states that anyone who touches Seniha will have to deal with him. After such an oath, we can expect Halit to personally handle his sister's safety and try to remove Nur from his path. Towards the finale, Nusret begins to suspect his mother and asks what secret they are hiding. Because of this suspicion, it is logical to expect him to start his own investigation, which will lead him to the bitter truth. Mediha notes that Halit and Seniha have now joined in a powerful alliance. This detail hints that the united Pashazades will strike back with such force that Nur might not be prepared for. Mediha states that as long as there is a war, they must stick together. This decision to unite the family will be the catalyst for seeing their coordinated counterattack on all fronts in the next episode. Seniha agrees to a temporary truce until Nur is defeated. The final picture is this. In the sequel, we can expect a head-on collision between the two clans, where each side will try to use the opponent's dirty secrets.